We are talking about Jake El Gallo Paul versus Iron Mike Tyson this Friday, live on Netflix. I'm not being paid to say that, but I'm going to say it anyways. If you don't know, I will be doing a live stream on this channel for this fight card, and we will also be doing a watch party for UFC 309 later on that day. We're going to break this down into two segments. Segment 1 being Jake Paul. We're going to do two things in these segments. In both Mike Tyson and Jake Paul segment, I'm going to look at the pros and the cons and what I noticed throughout their last fight, their very last fight, and their very last loss fight. So for Jake Paul, it will be Tommy Fury as the last loss and Mike Perry for his last win fight. For Mike Tyson, it will be Roy Jones Jr. exhibition. I know that's not technically a win, but it was an exhibition. It was his last fight. And his Kevin McBride fight. But before we do, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, and follow, and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I upload. Let's go. For segment 1, we're going to look at Jake Paul. So, in the build-up to Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul has said at Open Workout, which was only a few hours ago, that he will outbox Mike Tyson and he will knock out Mike Tyson. I have one key thing to pick at here, is him saying he's going to outbox Mike Tyson. Jake Paul has never outboxed an opponent, like as in a skillful boxing manner. He's outboxed opponents, but when you look at the boxing skill as a whole, he has never outboxed a single opponent. He has beaten opponents in boxing. He hasn't outboxed or outclassed anybody. He's just landed them power shots. My key thing about this fight is Jake Paul struggles with pressure. Looking at these last two fights that I am going to be talking about in this video, he has struggled with pressure in every single one of his fights. Pressure breaks him. He just breaks under pressure. He cracks. And we all know Mike Tyson loves to put on pressure. He has that peekaboo style, and once he starts, doesn't stop, he gets in range and he breaks you down. Jake Paul cannot handle that. He could get knocked out because Mike Tyson, like he said in his face-to-face with Jake, he is a born killer. Jake Paul is a manufactured killer. But let's start with Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. So these are some notes that I wrote down throughout watching the full fight. I had to rewatch the fight on YouTube. It sucked, can't lie. The quality was terrible, but the fight was entertaining. Tyron Woodley called out a jab high, jab low, overhand right. Watch it, and that was the very first few punches that Jake threw, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's gonna switch up a little bit. Tyron Woodley called that shit. Throughout that whole fight, it was a jab high, jab low, overhand right. I noted down next to it that Jake also loves a left hook. It's always the jab, left hook, backhand, left hook, overhand right, left hook. Whatever he throws a left hook. He hasn't ever set up the right hand. Obviously, he did actually. That's a lie. He did set up a right hand. It was a right hook to Tyron Woodley's dome that put Tyron Woodley out cold. If Jake brings that back, it'll be unpredictable because he doesn't really use it anymore. Mike Perry walked Jake Paul down, landed a combination, clinched him, and then moved him. Something that Jake cannot also handle is when someone else is clinching him. He loves to clinch, but he hates when someone clinches him. In round 1, Jake's hands fall throughout the round and then just disintegrate. They're just here now. They're not up here. When you're fighting Mike Tyson, you don't want your hands here because your chin sometimes stays up a bit. If you're fighting like this against Mike Tyson and he's bobbing and weaving, we saw what happened to his sparring partner, and when his sparring partner started doing that shit, Mike Tyson got on the inside and threw the massive left hook that he throws, and he put him down. So Jake needs to be very careful of going backwards in this fight. Jake needs to apply the pressure to Mike. He cannot allow Mike to apply pressure to him. That's a fact. I also put Jake always throws overhand rights with his head down and his right side of his face is always open. So when he throws the overhand, he gets this hand here, he gets his left hand to go over that way. But he also leaves his chin out sometimes. In the Tommy Fury fight, he did that a lot. He left his chin out and Tommy Fury saw it, started landing the uppercut to him. Mike Perry had a great slip left hook. So Mike Perry got dropped by Jake Paul. And then Mike Perry slow bob and weave. But as he came back from the left side for a massive left hook, Jake didn't see it coming somehow because it was pulled right back. Caught Jake. Jake stumbled a little bit. I remember on stream I actually celebrated that. That was sick. When I was reacting to his fight. But Jake didn't see it coming, got caught clean with it. Jake always struggles on the back foot. I agree with that. He definitely does. On the Tommy Fury fight, he wasn't on the back foot as much, but whenever he was, it was because Tommy Fury was landing a bunch of combinations. And Mike Perry landed a bunch of combinations when Jake Paul was on the back foot. in his fight. Jake struggles a lot on the back foot. Hopefully he's worked on that. Also, Jake Paul released a sparring footage and he had his head down with the overhand right again. I don't know what's up with him and his head down, but he's got to stop it. Because if Mike Tyson don't figure it out, your future opponents will. If I'm figuring it out, someone else will. Mike Perry made it a bit of a dogfight. Jake was struggling with it. Mike Tyson will love for it to be a full-on dogfight. So occasionally, Mike Perry would do what Tommy Fury did. Now, Tommy Fury did it a lot more, which is why I believe Tommy Fury won. But Mike Perry would occasionally just throw a bunch of combinations, get out of range, or clinch. I wish that Mike Perry would have done that more. That is definitely why Tommy Fury won. Jake struggled with combinations. He cannot handle someone who throws combinations. And we all know Mike Tyson likes to go body, uppercut, hook. It's Mike Tyson's thing. But Mike also likes to push. He likes to bully you. Mike Tyson loves to bully. He loves to push you up against the ropes and work you. And I don't mean like he's going to lightly tap you like all these other guys. He's going to barely miss you. No. When Mike Tyson lets his hands go, they are like bullets firing out of a sniper rifle. They are trying to kill you. Mike Perry doesn't have the ring IQ like Tyson does. Tyson will cut off the ring and break Jake down. I agree with that statement that I made. Mike Perry was just following Jake around with the roughly same stance as Jake. Mike Tyson isn't just going to be like, okay, we're going to go this way. Mike Tyson's going to cut him off so he can't get out of range and he's going to break him down to a corner. And that's where Mike Tyson's going to unload. Whenever Mike Perry blitzed, Jake Paul struggled. We all know Mike Tyson loves a blitz, and that's what he's going to do. Jake also likes to switch stances. That's really all I got out of the Jake Paul vs Mike Perry card. But based off of these stats, although Mike Tyson is 58, Mike Tyson still has what he had years ago. Mike Tyson is still in there because he was born to do this shit. He was born to do it. He was bred to do this. This was what he was born to do, and he's doing it. Like he said, Jake Paul's a manufactured killer. When Jake Paul gets 60, you think he's doing this shit? Fuck no. Mike Tyson, though, loves it. Now we move on to part 2 of segment 1, which is Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. I watched Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. I rewatched the fight just now. It's now 4 a.m. that I'm filming this video. But I rewatched Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury. Now, I saw some comments on there saying Jake Paul clearly won. This is obviously Jake Paul win. Now, obviously, they're trolls and they're baits. So I thought, you know what? Why not just score it myself? I had the full fight in the end being a 76-73 to Tommy. 2 of those judges on that fight card had it 76-73 to Tommy as well. Now, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I just copied what they put. I'm going to tell you my exact rounds I gave it to them. Tommy Fury got round 1, round 2, round 4, round 6, but deduct a point because he did get a point deducted. So technically he lost that round, but Jake also didn't win that round, so it was a 9-9 round. It was a draw round. Then he got round 7, and then round 8, I gave it a draw because Tommy Fury got dropped, but Jake Paul definitely didn't win that round. Tommy got dropped at the beginning of the round, but Tommy decided to take control, take over, and win that round. So I had it a 9-9, 10-9, 10-1, 9-9-9 for Jake. Tommy had a 10-10, 9, 10-9, 10-1, 10 and 9. In round 1, right at the beginning, Tommy started off first. He was not allowing Jake to start. This was a good thing from Tommy. When they were just standing there doing nothing, I mean, let's start with round 1, right? Round 1, start off. Right out the gate, Tommy instantly jabbing him. Starting away, starting quick. Don't allow Jake to plant his feet and start. As soon as Jake starts, the fight's over. So Tommy had to be first, and that's what he was. He was first to the punch, he was first to continue. Also, I noticed whenever Tommy showed Jake no respect, Jake struggled. He really struggled. Jake also struggles when opponents are not standing still. He doesn't know how to cut a fighter off either. So if an opponent is slowly just circling off, Jake's just going to follow him. And Tommy knows how to jab and move, stick it and move. He didn't do it as much, which annoyed me, but occasionally he'd do it. Jake, in that fight, only dipped to his left. This was one thing that I'm annoyed at that I didn't look at in the Mike Perry fight, was Jake only would dip left. He would only go left. Eventually, Tommy started figuring him out, and he just stopped dipping altogether. Jake gets pissed off when he's clinched, and not when he's clinching. Jake throws overhands, too wild, and leaves his chin open. That is all I've written on Jake. Jake has a lot of negatives, but that is because he's only just started. Although Jake's only started, I think, about 6 years ago. It's improvement, but at an amateur level improvement. It's not like, oh, he actually knows what he's doing and this. Jake Paul, when you watch him, you can still just be like, okay, this is the combination he's going to throw here. This is what he's going to do. He's so easy to read. He's like a book. I could read him like a book. And hopefully on the stream, if I'm correct, I can read the man like a book and be like, this is what he's going to throw. I'm not going to sit here and dish Jake. Jake has power. Jake has power. He also is not good at boxing. The full skill as a whole, Jake's not good. And that is a fact. Like Eddie Hearn said, maybe I should just let Eddie Hearn say it himself.
I beat him in 1 minute. How do you even assess how good I was?
Well, because I said I didn't know. And actually,
but you called me average after 1 minute. But you called me after 1 minute of my first professional fight?
No, but you're still average. You're not.
It's not true. I just beat a 5-time world champion.
A UFC.
You don't even know. You don't know my ability though.
That's true. That's true.
You don't.
I don't know where you might go. I just give you where I think you're at, which I'm entitled to, which is average. Average is very complimentary to you.
It's true. He's just average. He is an average boxer. Jake Paul, the only good thing that Jake Paul really has is timing and power. That's all I can give him. But let's move on to segment 2, which is Iron Mike Tyson on his last loss that he had versus his exhibition fight. Okay, so I've just watched some of Mike Tyson. I watched his last fight, which was a retirement fight. He retired in the corner and he retired after the fight. And then I watched his very last fight, which was him versus Roy Jones Jr., which was an exhibition. Let's quickly go down a negative thing about Mike Tyson. He has had a back and neck surgery. He also is coming off of stomach ulcers. He is also 60 years old. That shit happens, man. It sucks. That's life. Why Mike's taking this fight, I don't know. But man is fit and in shape. So I'm going to give it to him. Fair play. Even if he doesn't win, the man went from looking like an ice cream to now looking good. Let us kick off with Kevin McBride versus Mike Tyson fight. So Mike can still see the punches coming and he slips them very fast. This was his very last fight as well, like as a pro. Mike was not as aggressive in round 1, nor was he aggressive coming out at the start of each round. He was taking his time with it. So Mike, I don't know why Mike was like that, but I'd read some comments saying that he didn't really train for it or something, which sucks. But Mike is also very good at cutting angles. He also has a very tight and high guard sometimes, so it'll be from here to here. And Mike does a thing in the amateurs where he'd bite his glove. He started doing that in the Kevin McBride fight. I don't think he done it in the Roy Jones, not that I noticed at least. Mike is a lot used to taller opponents. Jake Paul being 6'2", I think it is, or 6'1". Mike is only 5'10". It's a good fight for Mike. What he likes to do, as he gets in range, he uses his head, pulls it out of his guard a bit, which pushes his opponent's head up to throw that left hand over the top and catch him. Jake Paul has never seen that in a fight where his opponent's trying to push his chin up so that they can punch the left hand. Something can happen there, maybe, if Mike has power behind that. Tyson's gas tank eventually depletes in that fight. He also has quick hands, but we'll get back to the eventually depleting soon. I put a clinch would be best for Jake. Jake should either keep it long, very, very long, or if Mike gets in close enough, he has to initiate a clinch. As soon as Mike initiates a clinch, Mike's going to start ripping to the body, ripping to the head. So Jake needs to keep it nice and long, use his reach, use his height to his advantage, and don't let Mike get in close. And don't stick your chin up, because Mike will catch you eventually. Now, apparently, Mike Tyson's fight before that, he got knocked out in round 4. I think that on commentary they were talking about, I think they mentioned that it was like a knee injury or something that he'd had beforehand, and he was coming off of surgery or something. But apparently he had a knee injury which was leading up to the knockout. I don't have evidence behind that. The Danny Williams fight was back in 2004. So Mike lost this fight in round 6, and it's because he ended up retiring in the corner. He quit, basically. He gave up there. But after round 5, Mike Tyson was getting a lot more tired, a lot more gassed, and it started going into McBride's favour. McBride started taking advantage, and as Mike got tired, he couldn't move as much, so he couldn't slip in that. He struggled to get on the inside, and McBride started opening up and catching him. Another thing that Mike seemed to struggle with, McBride in round 4, I think it was, started covering up a bit more and started walking forwards towards Mike, straight through him, and then opening up. Another thing that seemed to struggle Mike a little bit was someone who would just walk forwards towards him and walk through him. I feel like a thing that Jake Paul really needs to do is work the body a lot, because he needs to gas out Mike or make him punch out himself. Pun intended. If you get the classic joke, Mike Tyson punch out. Search it up. So I put for a note for Jake Paul is keep it long. Mike loves it in close. Mike uses his head to push up his opponent's head so that he can throw over the left hand, and maybe if it's on the other side, he throws over the right hand. Mike gives it all when he's gassed as well. When Mike Tyson gets gassed, he throws it out there. Another thing that I noticed in that fight was he played a bit dirty. He threw a lot of dirty shots. He does this thing where if he ties up your arm, he will make sure it's here on the elbow, so that as he pushes it into him, his hand will be trapped there, his shoulder will be in line, and it will break your arm basically. That's what he tries to do. He tries to break your arm. Mike only got KO'd in later rounds. So if you actually go look at Mike Tyson's record, all of his knockouts, like actual knockout losses, except his previous one, all were in the later rounds. And by the way, these are 3-minute rounds, normally around 12. And back in the day, they were 15 rounds as well. So Mike Tyson's issue is gas tank, sometimes his height, the reach. That's really it, really. And later rounds, but that would come into gas tank. Now we're going to Roy Jones Jr. versus Mike Tyson. This was back when Jake Paul fought Ben Askren, I think it was. So it was about 4 years ago, something like that. It was like 2020, maybe. Yeah, it was about, no. Might have been about 3 years ago. Anyways, I said Mike started off very fast. In the rounds, each round he would come out quick, come out very fast. We could see this Mike Tyson return. This was classic Mike Tyson, and we kind of saw shades of it in this fight. Mike Tyson starts off very fast. He struggles when opponents initiate clinch. There's a lot of accidental headbutts, and Jake does the same thing. They both accidentally headbutt their opponents. It's because when they go in for shots, they occasionally lean over and stuff and lean in. It makes sense. It's going to happen. I expect a few headbutts in this fight. Jake will probably get cut open. No idea about Mike though. Mike works the body just as much as the head, and that was the same in the last fight as well. He loves to rip to the body and then rip to the head right after. Mike hurt Roy Jones Jr. to the body. Yes, they're both old, but still there's a lot of power there for Mike. Mike has great timings. Mike also has a great gas tank in this one compared to his previous fight. And this was actually his previous fight. The McBride fight was actually his last fight before Roy Jones Jr. So Mike never really waits too long. He waits, but he waits for an opening. He waits to see. He doesn't wait for you to throw something. He waits probably about 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then he goes. Mike has had a leg and a back surgery as well, which obviously sucks, but it seems Mike is still working his ass off, still training as hard as he can, still doing pretty well, and I'm very impressed. There's a lot that factor into it. Mike's age, how Mike has been, how Jake performs, how Mike could perform. There's so much that can go into this fight. Here's my opinion. If Mike gets gassed out or tired, he will lose. I think he will be too much for Jake, as in speed, timing, angle cuts, power, possibly as well, because Mike is a natural heavyweight, while Jake Paul, yes, technically is a natural heavyweight, but he has ballooned up to natural. He has gone from 180 to 200. I don't know if Jake's always sitting around 200. If he is, Jake's a natural heavyweight. If not, Jake's not a natural heavyweight. I mean, we saw in the Mike Perry fight, he looked very gassed, very tired. It doesn't look like that was natural for him to be there, but hopefully Jake's worked on that gas tank a lot, because he's going to need it for this one. But like I'm saying, I think if Mike Tyson gets gassed out, I think it could be Jake Paul's win. Do I think it goes knockout? It's questionable. Mike has only been knocked out when he's been gassed, and Jake Paul loves to throw the same shit over and over and over again, and Mike isn't no spring chicken. He will eventually clock onto you, and if you keep doing that same shit, you're not going to knock him out of it. You have to figure out some new combinations. Hopefully Jake's done that in behind the scenes for this one. Do I think Jake gets knocked out? I think Jake could get put down. Possibly. I think Mike might get put down, but do I think it goes to a knockout? I don't know. I think it'll go to the decision. I think that Mike Tyson's guard will be too much for Jake, because Jake doesn't really know how to get over that guard. He's only fought opponents who have their guard down. He's never dealt with an opponent who always has their guard up, which Mike Tyson always has his guard up. I think it's going to be a struggle one for Jake. But like I said, if Mike Tyson gets tired and gassed out, Jake Paul needs to see an opening and go for it, and then go to knock out Mike Tyson. I think a lot of people are dismissing Mike Tyson and what he's done, and yeah, obviously they're going, oh, but he's old and this shit and that shit. Look at the Roy Jones Jr. fight. This was 3-4 years ago. Is it up to date? No, it's 4 years out of date. But try not to underestimate Mike too much, because I think Mike has something special planned for Jake, but we'll have to wait and see. I think the pressure might get to Jake, not as in like the pressure of the fight. No, Jake's been under this pressure before. I think the pressure of Mike Tyson coming at him at all times is what's going to break Jake down and possibly make him lose. I don't know if it goes to a decision, it will go on the record, but I know if it goes to a knockout, it definitely goes on the record. So if it goes to a decision, I'm happy and no one really wins. But if it doesn't, Mike gets knocked out, it goes on his record, and I hate that, man. I hate that. But if Jake gets knocked out, people are just going to clown him and be like, you got beat by a 6-year-old. But I feel like it's so disrespectful to Mike. Yeah, he's 60. He's fucking Mike Tyson. This shouldn't even be a question. Who's going to win? Mike Tyson, obviously. Obviously, Mike's old. You can't take that out of the equation. It fucking sucks how it has to be, but we'll have to wait and see. But I think that's it from me. It's now 5 a.m. I finished filming this video and doing this video. I started at 4. Well, actually, I started this video at 3. And now I'm finishing at 5. But thank you all, and I will catch you in a bit. I will see you Friday night. I think it'll be about 1 a.m. that they're doing it. At 1 a.m. on this channel here for the live watch party. If you own Netflix, watch it. You can have me on the side, or you don't have to have me on at all. But watch this fight. Do I think it'll be the biggest fight in history? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But thank you all, and I will catch you in a bit. Take care, and peace.